Derek, when you shuffled these lines, you had Berge with Veleno. There is some chemistry, obviously, from the minor leagues. Is that something you were kind of looking for, or did that just come about? Or?
Yeah, no, it probably, if anything, probably worked from our top six back. And those guys have played well. A little chemistry there. But again, I think their success is coming off hard work. So not a whole lot those two playing together.
As far as Berggren goes, I mean, again, is it still kind of like you guys we got to give him sufficient ice time to make it all worth?
You could possibly, but it's different. We literally have 12 forwards here. Like if we have someone go down, warm-ups ill in the 11th hour, we play 11 and 7. So he's getting his opportunity through necessity, which is fine. It's we'll get looks. If we are healthy, now we start getting into 13, 14 forwards here. When Elmer comes back, hopefully sooner than later, now we probably have those type of conversations. What makes sense? It's better for the development at the time. 10 to 12, 13 minutes in that role. Obviously, both Elmer and Bergen got power play time or significant role in the American Hockey League. But hopefully we have that luxury someday.
With how much time Elmer's missed, would you guys ever think about like an AHL conditioning?
Yeah, I think we'd cross that path when it comes. I think you'd have to now. Now he starts getting to that 2-3 weeks without even skating. I don't know how fair it is to him to throw him right into an NHL game, especially where he is in his development. So. Again, missed practice again today. I still want to look at it as a day-to-day, but obviously he's flirting with more time than that. So that's something we'll cross that path when he hopefully is available for us.
Derek, yesterday you said something along the lines of, it's a tribute to the will where you guys have had. Can you elaborate on that? Like, what do you mean by that?
Block shots, tracking, back checking, getting above plays, like all those hard things you have to do to be successful. Especially there's nights where we're just not going to out-talent a team. I was fortunate to be in Tampa where we didn't play our best, and our elite talent there got us through some games. We're not going to get many of those nights here. So, and that's what I meant by willing. Blocking shots, winning battles, getting above, committed to defense, not cheating, not poaching. Those are what our guys have been doing and has given us success.
Is there growth? Is it showing growth that they are in the spot where they're at? Even, I think everybody agrees there's a long way to go, but, they're not at the bottom of the standings.
Yeah, I think there's just a difference between winning hockey and, unfortunately where they were at the end of last year. It was a tough situation in everyone. Depleted lineup. They have no chance of making the playoffs. What are you playing for? We talk about our why in the room all the time. What was their why then? Our guys cheating, leaning for points. It's a little tougher in those situations to put your body on the line. I understand it. So I just think just the reality of being in, you say the mix, our goal all along was improving our team defense and playing meaningful games later in the year. And we're not there yet, but hopefully we can get there because I think, what you just described is very important in growth and development.
Derek, how important is it for you personally to manage expectations? Because you seem to try to put a lid on everything just to say, okay, it's good, but we're not there yet. I mean, is that something that you've always done, or now that you're a head coach, is that something that's starting to come to the forefront?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think there's a reality of managing it with you guys, but I think our room, when we close the door, it's easier to describe and define exactly where we are at. I just think it's reality. Again, I mentioned the other day, someone asked me about the American Thanksgiving being in one of these playoff spots, and traditionally that puts you in. In Tampa Bay, I was very comfortable. You know, you really didn't have to manage expectations. Obviously, it was John Cooper's job with the media, but if we were there at Thanksgiving with the type of talent and depth and world-class best players in the world at every position, we were pretty comfortable we were going to make the playoffs. Just completely different. I think we're just being realistic on where our group's at right now. So there's probably some of that, but it really hasn't been an issue. We haven't talked about it in the room. I just think it's a day-to-day and where we're at as a team.
I know you're an EPL guy. Have you watched the World Cup? Are you up at
Yes.
8 a.m. to watch
No, I'm not necessarily up, but when it's on, I watch. I enjoy soccer. I laugh all the time. I was an anti-soccer. My wife, college soccer coach, played college soccer. She introduced it to me, and a couple buddies and introduced me to the EPL, playing over in Europe. They'd come home in the summer. Pro hockey guys, you have all summer, whatever. I've enjoyed it. So it's our staff. We're into it. We watch it, but not real closely. But it's something that's on that we enjoy.
This has really been all season, but even more recently, just having 7 to 8 defensemen that you can put in your top 6. How difficult has it been with the decisions? And now, obviously, Gus Lindstrom probably coming back sometime this week. Pesik's going to be in the mix soon. How hard are those decisions for you?
A luxury, and that's a great question because we have had tough decisions with our D. Unfortunately, with our forward group, we just talked about we're playing every available body possible with our forward group, but that hasn't been the case on the D, and it's probably helped us to some of our success early on. That our D are playing well, even with Lindstrom. That's a tough one because he probably doesn't warrant to be out. He went out from injury, and Wallman comes in, Osterley comes in, and they played really well. So, now we're in those good, hard decisions, but those are luxury because we've not had those. Fortunately, we are on D right now, so it'll be game to game. We want competition. We want it to be based on performance, and I think with having 7, 8 healthy D all playing well, we'll have some of those tough decisions.
Well, Osterley's +7 in 8 games. It's got to be a difficult thing for him after going so long without playing to just be tossed in there. It's got to be a nice luxury having a guy like that.
Great job. And then we've asked him to play his offhand also, and he's done a great job. So when he's at his best, he's helping our transition. He's breaking pucks out. He's good with our regroups. He's on his toes offensively. He fits our system well because he skates. You can see when we're playing well, our defense starts in the offensive zone, gaps being on top, and he can do that. So yeah, he's been excellent for us.
You're
Yes.
about to start a 5-game homestand here. Is it significant, or again, should we kind of manage our expectations? It's just 5 games.
Really manage our expectations. It is just 5 games, and we start with a really good Nashville team tomorrow. And again, I want to see how we're going to be. We're coming off an extended road trip, going East Coast, West Coast, back to the East Coast playing, and then 3 days between games. We're trying to caution our guys on this. This has a little letdown written all over it. Just being home, different routine. So yeah, totally one game at a time, especially where we're at. It's amazing how narratives turn. And someone asked me in the media on the West Coast, "What are you going to do? You're 0-2-2. You've lost 4. We win 1 game, all of a sudden we've taken points in 2 of 3, and now we win 2 in a row. We've pointed. It's amazing how narratives over 2-3 games because we've taken 5 points. I think same approach. Bottom line is we've taken points, I believe, in 13 of 18 games, and that's why we're sitting where we're at. It's going to be tough every time out.
Now that you're not having so many back-to-backs, how do you find the spot to when you're gonna or how you're gonna balance the 2 goalies? I know you were going 50-50 early, and then obviously Billy's gotten a little more of late, but there's no more back-to-backs on the immediate horizon.
Well, that's given us the opportunity to play a little bit of a hot hand in Billy. The fact that we haven't had back-to-backs, so even it has been truly a after game reevaluate. Full confidence in that. He's going to get back in there sometime. It's just a matter of where. But kind of riding where Billy is. We're also trying to be smart on managing Billy's workload too. He's sharp right now, but we don't want to overuse him and lose some of that sharpness. So we have had the luxury of a stretched out schedule a little bit where we can go back to back and play 4 or 5 in a row for Billy, but that's something we'll manage over time here.
And then what's your assessment on Copp through 18 games? I'm sure he'd like to have a couple more goals, but what are you seeing in him?
He's good. It's almost like someone asked me the other day, evaluating Mo and Razor on 100 games. It's almost unfair what we ask of them, and I put Copper in that same boat. First out on the penalty kill, he's got the checking assignment versus the top. We looked at some underlying numbers the other day. He is one of the top centermen with D-zone stops versus the top players in the league. D-zone starts, excuse me. So, and then he was one of the least O-zone starts. So we're already setting him up on some really tough tasks, and then we're putting them the face-off on his offhand on many times. So there's really good. There's a lot there. Again, he missed camp. He's fighting through a core injury. I've had a little experience with core injury. I remember Steven Stamkos had a core surgery injury, and he came back and not even himself. We were worried maybe he was at the end of his career. 9 months later, he looked like he was 22 again. So I think there's a reality of missing camp, the type of injury he had, and what we've asked of him. He's probably our second or third minutes leader, and we've just asked a ton of tough assignments. Now, with that said, I think he's up to the task. He's not going to shy away from that. But so I think good with Copper, and it's just managing what we ask of him.
We asked some of your players today who they thought was going to win the Thanksgiving football game here in Detroit. I won't tell you who picked the Lions. Okay, I won't tell you. What do you think?
That's a tough one because my favorite AFC team up against my favorite NFC team in the Detroit Lions. I've actually always liked the Lions. I'm about that powder blue. So I couldn't.
Or they're
tell
just easy to like because.
No, they're not easy to like. I mean, how can you not like the same passion and excitement the fan base here has with Coach Campbell? I have too. How can you not like? When their season's over, I'm gonna come ask him to talk to the guys. And it's just and when he says, "Well, I don't care what you talk about. Just talk the passion you always do." I'm actually excited about going to the game. So it'll be fun.
Just
you
wondering.
met him yet at all?
I'm not. I'm kicking myself. They invited me over to training camp, and I was still in Tampa. And being a football fan, and I've liked watching him on his passion, what he's about. It's been fun to watch. So I'm looking forward to meeting him sometime. Not looking forward to wrestling him or getting in a bar brawl with him. Maybe if he's on my side, but not.
I was going to say, you need to get him on your side. That's a
yes.
good guy.
If he looks me in the eyes, I'll be looking for nickels on the ground, for sure.